from Network Studios. Welcome back to another stream. I think I might have forgotten to change the title there. Well, actually I know I did. I'll try and change it in the editing if I remember, which by the time I've finished streaming and started doing something else, I could quite easily forget about the title. But if you could send me a comment or something which will remind me, so when I click on the video I can think oh yeah, I'll change that now while I'm on it. So guys, I said yesterday that I wanted to finish this building off yesterday, and I did exactly that. I completed the whole building, and if I'm honest with you guys, I think this building turned out pretty sick. I actually really like the way it turned out. It couldn't have turned out better. The only thing is, I think I did make one tiny little mistake with the roof, which doesn't really matter because we're not really going for the exact looks of roofs exactly when it comes to buildings. I'm trying to get them as close as I can, but with this building on Google Maps, when you sort of stand back here, you kind of just see the roof like that. So that's kind of how I built it, how you see it. However, when you come to this side, you see how it kind of goes in a bit. Well, I don't think the roof itself actually goes in diagonal like this. I think there's supposed to be more than a gap of 3 here, and I think the roof was just supposed to stay straight, but I kind of made it curve instead, which I do kind of like it in a way. I don't think it's going to be 100% too badly noticeable. And I've also been working out another shop just here. Now the reason why I wanted to do this is simply because I wanted to make sure that I was getting it done correctly, if you know what I mean. I wanted to mark out the other side of the road. Now I'm not going to be coming down here for a very, very long time. In the process of this map, I'm not going to be coming down here for ages. This is sometime in the future. I don't see anything really, honestly, all that interesting down here. As a matter of fact, this area down here is kind of a rough area. There's 2 good buildings down this area. Well, actually, I say 2. There's actually 3 good buildings down this area. What I want to actually build, what I'm actually looking forward to building, and the rest of them are just really not that interesting. Obviously we're building driffield, so we will build them buildings at some point, but there's only 3 things down that way what I want to build. One of them is a Witherspoons. So if you don't know what a Witherspoons is, or I think it could be Weatherspoons, it's basically a big bar meal place. You go and have a drink, you order things like steaks, and you order things like chip. In other words, you can basically order anything, but it's kind of cheap food what you get. And there's rumours about them being microwaved meals and stuff like that. So I want to build that because it's a pretty decently nice place. There's also a chapel across the road, which has a really nice curved design in it, and it has a nice blue cross on it, and it's got a little bit of a parking space out the front, which would be quite nice to make. And then further down we've actually got the iconic Driffield Church, and the Driffield Church is something which I wouldn't mind doing either. I'm kind of dreading it, but at the same time looking forward to it. I'm dreading it because it's gonna more than likely probably be quite hard to make. It's probably not gonna be one of them easy churches to do. It's a proper parish church. It's one of them really tall ones with a clock at the top. Not looking forward to doing that in some ways, because I think it's going to be a hard chapel, hard church to do. And literally apart from that, this area is really rough. Now in our town we used to have such an amazing thing in our town. We used to have a co-op food, but next to the co-op food we used to actually have a shopping centre. like driffield, which is hard to believe now because it hasn't like been open for years. Like, I'm talking like this was only just like on its last legs of opening, of being open when I was little. And literally it was like a late 90s, early 2000s thing, and about 2003 or something like that would have been like when it closed down or something like that. And apparently it was like very iconic. Now I remember it being there, and I remember what used to be there, but I don't remember exactly what shops were inside of it and exactly how it looked. For a matter as such, but it was a big shopping centre place, and I heard like stories that there was things like a what do you call it? There was things like a record shop in there. I think there was maybe like a food place inside. I'm not like 100% sure on that one. And and then like just next to it there was a co-op food. So like the cooperative. Kind of like a little small not news agents, but like a local store kind of thing where you could go and get like where you could go like not just for bread and milk, but you could get a few more. You'd go get a few more things from there, and I used to go and get a pint of milk and a magazine from there when I left infant school. It was kind of like when I started infant school, it was still just vaguely open, and then the shopping centre closed first, but the shops inside of it closed, but they left it open so you could still use it as a walkthrough, and they kind of just like had the shops to let for so long, so like the actual like shopping centre place itself stayed open as a walkthrough. And they tried to put some of the shops back up for sale inside, and then in the end the shops just weren't getting bought. Like, no one was buying the shops, if you know what I mean. And then like chavvy teenagers just started graffitiing inside, so they just boarded it up, and from that day on it's just basically had these wooden boards across like all the windows. It's had like old like stickers advertising circuses and fairgrounds outside. It's had all kinds of things. It's kind of like gone up for sale, and then it's kind of like gone off sale for so many years, and then it'll go back up for sale, and it's currently up for sale again at the moment. It's pretty decent space. It does come with a car park at the back of it. So like the car park's still in use now, but there was like a back entrance to the shopping mall. Well, it was more like a little mini indoor shopping outlet, really. Like it wasn't a big shopping centre where you get your Argoses and where you get like your big department store inside of it, and you get your escalators going up to like other floors. It was just like a little walk-through place with some shops inside of it, and like some food places. But it was still a decent place when it was open, and then for some reason like the whole place just went bust. They tried to put it back up for sale, and then in the end, like I said, they just boarded it all up, and I don't really have too much of a clue why it's like never been bought again. I guess it's just like I know like shops and things don't do as well as they used to do. Back in the day, I know there's a lot of like struggle to keep shops open, and I know a lot of like families struggle. So like like Pacific shops, like for example, like if you like opened a new PC store in there nowadays, like buying loads of selling like loads of computers, people aren't really going to necessarily afford to be buying like loads of cash on a brand new PC. So the chances are is people are hardly ever going to go in, because PCs aren't a priority where you're going to get people going in and buying a new Windows 10 laptop or a new Apple Mac every single day. They're more something you wait for Christmas, so you kind of go to like your Argoses and stuff. Again, like same with like a supermarket. We have a lot of supermarkets, if that makes sense. So I would kind of imagine that making a supermarket wouldn't really be the thing, because people will only go where the cheaper prices are at, and I don't think a supermarket would do too well, given in the area where it actually, given the area where it is. It's like literally just behind well, it's actually literally just in front of a Lidl, where they were actually planning to put an Aldi, because also next to the shopping centre and the co-op there's like a little old shut down arcade, and then next to that there's the old post office what had like a parking bay, like a parking place at the back for all the post vans, and then they got like a proper warehouse on the industrial estate for all of that. And that's all boarded up, so if you can really see my intentions of not really wanting to build at that side of the map just yet, it's kind of, you know, I'm pretty sure you can kind of see why that part of the map isn't the biggest thing on my list right at the moment. I'm pretty sure you can see why I'd rather do like the nice sort of busy, usable area of the driffield. But driffield does have a lot of abandoned places in it, as you are going to see throughout this map. Driffield does have a few of its abandoned places. There's like a huge cattle market place where they used to take like sheep and cows, and they used to basically like go ahead and take like loads of cattle there, like on a market day and stuff like that. And I only vaguely remember that being open, and that was like really, again, that was like something when I was like really young. Like, it's been shut, let's say, over 10 years. It's been shut about 12 years now, more than likely. 2003 would be like, I'd say, around the time I really only vaguely remember it. I don't even remember. I just remember going in there and, well, going past it and seeing like cows in there. I don't literally remember I don't remember an absolute ton about it, unfortunately. And it's just stayed shut ever since. We have a place called the Sugar Mill, which was like a big sugar mill factory years ago, which has been shut down even longer. I've never seen that open, and they've actually knocked it down now, but that's just an empty bit of land. Near the cattle market across the road, there's like a load of garage units what are all overgrown and empty. There's also another place which used to be Naylor's Woodyard, where they used to make like wood windows and stuff like that, wood door frames. They moved on to an industrial estate, and where they used to be just got left absolutely empty. A huge warehouse place there, just all overgrown. You can't get to it anymore. Barbed wired fence, all just I guess you could say left in a state. Nothing that decent about it anymore. Loads of places in our town what are just left empty, and they kind of never do anything to them. They have all recently gone up for sale. Well, the sugar mill hasn't, but such as the woodyard and that's gone up for sale. The cattle market, I don't think that's gone up for sale, but I think there is talk about them putting it up for sale. And there was another place what was shut down for nearly 10 years as well. It was actually shut down 9 years, and then that actually got reopened into our B&M, and that was a place called Quick Save. So I don't know if you remember the supermarket called Quick Save, but there was a supermarket chain called Quick Save. And it was just basically, again, it was like a smaller version of a Tesco, and it was it had cheap deals, and it had cheap brands in it basically. You could get the actual Walker's crisps and stuff like that. It weren't cheap in that way, but in other words, they always had deals and offers on, and it was still a pretty decent sized place, you know. A decent sized place. It had it had a fair decent amount to offer. It was like I say, it was a decent place in that sense, and the whole business chain. So not just the Quick Save near us, but the quick saves all over, as in the quick saves all over the UK. They all shut down. If that makes sense. They all shut down. So like every single quick save went bust, and all quick saves closed. And like I say, like our business shop literally just stayed shut down. Nothing ever happened to it for like 9 years, and I'll tell you the reason why. The reason why is because our Tesco supermarkets, they bought the Tesco. The Tesco supermarket chain bought like loads of these empty places, like such as the Woodyard, the Quick Save, and they all had like intentional plans to do things with it. Like for example, like they were gonna move where the Tesco's is now. They were gonna build like knock the cattle market down. They were gonna build a superstore where you'd have like a filling station, you'd have like a cafe inside of it. And the thing is they didn't have enough funds to do it, so they bought these places and they just left them empty. And it meant that nothing could ever be done with them, because Tesco's wouldn't sell them. They were like waiting for some miracle, I guess you could say, to happen, where they would finally get the urge to do something with them, like when they finally could get the funds to go ahead and raise, where they finally had the funds to raise and do, and like actually make the supermarket, the like bigger supermarkets. But it never happened and never happened. And then they started struggling a bit because our Lidl store was doing like loads of cheap deals, and more people started going to Lidl. So in the end, they had to try and make some more profits back up. So they've started putting the buildings to let, what they kind of had under their control for all these years. And now the Quick Save has gone, and we now have a B&M, which is pretty nice. But I'm just going to nip to the Lulu. So I'll be back in a sec, guys. Oh. Yo.